The sound of the mop gliding across marble echoed softly in the empty lobby. It was nearly midnight, and the city outside had gone quiet, only the hum of streetlights and the faint whisper of wind remained. Tom Harris moved slowly, his back aching from a long day, but his rhythm was steady. Years of janitorial work had given him a strange kind of grace, the quiet dignity of someone who found peace in order, in small acts done well. He paused for a moment and looked up at the glass doors, their surface gleaming under the fluorescent lights. His reflection stared back, a man in his 50s, lines deep around his eyes, hair turning silver. There was fatigue there, yes, but also calm. In the corner of the room sat a small lunch bag. Inside, a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in wax paper, an apple, and a thermos of tea, his daughter Emily's doing. She'd written a note on the napkin again. "Don't forget to smile today, Dad. Love you." He smiled faintly, tucking it back inside. Just then, the elevator doors slid open. It was rare to see anyone this late. Out stepped a tall man in an expensive gray suit, his face pale and tired. Tom recognized him immediately, Richard Langford, the founder of the company. The Billionaire. Tom straightened instinctively. "Good evening, sir," he said, voice respectful but warm. Langford gave a distracted nod, his mind clearly elsewhere. His phone buzzed in his hand, lighting up with unread messages. His expression hardened. He moved toward the far window, staring out at the city skyline. For a while, neither man spoke. The silence in the room was deep, almost sacred, broken only by the soft swish of the mop and the low sigh of the air conditioning. Tom didn't mean to speak, but sometimes words rise from the heart before you plan them. "You know," he said quietly, wringing out the mop, "my daughter says you can tell a person's heart by how they treat the janitor." Langford turned, slightly startled. "What's that supposed to mean?" Tom smiled gently. "Just means kindness doesn't have a price tag. Never did." The billionaire studied him for a long moment, unsure how to respond. He wasn't used to being spoken to that way, calm, unafraid, honest. Tom went back to mopping, unbothered. His movements were unhurried, the rhythm steady as a heartbeat. "My girl's studying Mandarin at the community college," he said after a pause. "Says it'll open doors for her someday. She's got a dream, that one." Langford's attention sharpened. "Mandarin, you said?" Tom nodded. "She's always practicing, even makes me repeat words. Just last night, she taught me one." He chuckled softly. "I think it means gratitude." Langford raised an eyebrow. "What word was it?" Tom hesitated, then said carefully, his accent clumsy but sincere, "Gangxi." The sound seemed to hang in the air, gentle and deliberate. Something shifted in Langford's face. He blinked, the stiffness in his expression cracking just slightly. "My mother used to say that word," he murmured. "She was from Chengdu. Taught me when I was a boy." Tom looked up, curious. "Then she taught you well. It's a good word to remember." Langford turned away toward the window again, but his eyes softened. For the first time that night, he wasn't thinking about stock prices or board meetings. He was thinking about his mother, her voice, her laugh, her hands brushing his hair back when he was small. "You know," he said after a long pause, "I haven't spoken that word in years." Tom nodded, leaning on the mop handle. "Funny how life circles back, huh? Sometimes it takes a small thing, a word, a song, a smell, to remind us what really matters." Langford let out a quiet breath, the kind that comes when walls begin to lower. "You have a daughter who writes you notes," he said softly. "You're a lucky man." Tom smiled, a little wistful. "Luck's a funny thing. Doesn't always come in money or ease. Sometimes it's just someone waiting for you at home." The two men stood there, a janitor with calloused hands and a billionaire in a tailored suit, sharing a silence that felt less like distance and more like understanding. After a while, Langford took a step closer. "What's your daughter's name?" "Emily," Tom said. "She wants to be a teacher someday." Langford thought for a moment, then said quietly, "Have her send her resume to my office. We have a scholarship program she might qualify for." Tom blinked, unsure if he'd heard right. "Sir, I don't want." "It's not charity," Langford interrupted gently. "It's gratitude." "That word again." "Ganxi." Tom's eyes glistened as he nodded slowly. "Then I'll thank you the only way I know how, by keeping these floors shining." Langford smiled faintly. "Something tells me you'd do that anyway." He turned toward the elevator, his steps slower now, almost reflective. When the doors closed behind him, Tom stood for a long while, the mop still in his hand, the marble gleaming beneath his feet. Outside, dawn was beginning to edge into the city, pale light spilling between buildings, washing everything in soft gold. Tom poured himself a cup of tea from the thermos and sat on the bench by the window. He looked out at the world waking up and thought about the word again. Gratitude. It wasn't about big gestures or fortunes. It was about the quiet things, a daughter's note, a stranger's softened heart, a word spoken with care. And as he took another sip, the floor beneath him gleamed like a mirror, catching the first light of morning. That night, something in the building, and in two very different hearts, had been cleaned far deeper than marble could ever shine.